Hello, everybody. Lola here. We are on our next installment of our deep dive into Stray Kids lore music videos in order. Today, we're looking at the trailer Side Effects trailer, which should pick up where the Yellow Wood trailer just left off. Um, some like post thoughts on Yellow Wood is that I can't quite I'm taking in the fact that my Yellowwood Robert Frost association was correct. Maybe that really shouldn't be a surprise. I mean, I know Robert Frost, and that poem is very, very famous. It's just one that is very has had a presence in my life. I sang it when I was a kid in choir and for many years. And also, we live around the corner from this. Well, not around the corner, but we live nearby this Robert Frost trail, and we read that poem like multiple times over the summer. So there's some weird kind of collision of lives that's actually what's being referenced. But as I couldn't stop talking about it last time, even when I thought it wasn't what was being invoked, it's obviously like a really good fit for the ideas that they're exploring in these videos. So that, and also like from the conversations in the comments, yeah, I guess it was like almost wishful thinking that um this was another like instance of the Stray Kids who weren't revolting. And that's why they're getting on the elevator to Yellow Wood. So I guess instead it is that their initial like joyous collective revolt didn't lead to systemic change, as these things usually don't. There needs to be systemic effort to lead to systemic change. And so their sad, disillusioned looks were like that they were let down afterwards, which I find really upsetting. Like that also hits home in weird ways. But I get it, like, it makes the commentary more real that they've realized, but it's like the representation of the joyous revolution in District 9. I wanna hold on to that as meaning something, as mattering, even as the story is telling us that, like, that didn't solve everything, and they need to go assumedly on a much bigger and much more unknown, and probably less joyous journey. So when we last left off in a total like cliffhanger, an elevator hanger, the elevator was like in a free fall, right? And we didn't know where it was headed. We don't know what the YW Yellowwood really means in terms of a place. And so I can just tell from the first image that we're literally picking up like where that left off. Because that's what the first image looks like. And yeah, let's see what's next. Okay, here we go. Oh. Huh. Wait, what? Whoa! 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 Mind blown! Okay. Wow. Wow. Um, wow. I didn't see that coming, which I totally should have, because it was like what I was prepared for in the previous one, where I was like, maybe this isn't the same Stray Kids. Like here, we literally had a split screen where they split, where one group of them got on the bus and one group of them didn't. So they took. I think I have a cut. my gosh. Say hi. Okay, you're distracting me from my analysis. So they took the elevator to Yellowwood and they get off in this beautiful, idyllic little, like, totally, it looks like where I live, place, rural, rustic, yellow fall colors, and everything, other elements are yellow too, very aesthetic. The bus stripe is yellow. I'd have to go back and look, but okay, you can go. The bus stop, like everything's sort of very charming. But then they get tickets. It looks like it said to the new world. Um, and then in one instance of the story world, they choose to get on the bus, and then in another instance, they get off. And I mean, it partially feels like gameplay, like which one do you choose? And we're going in two different directions. Or it definitely could be multiversal, in one universe, in one variation of the story, they get on, and in one variation of the story, they stay off. So, and I suppose, like, if what the choices there would be to sort of stay in this idyllic haven versus to go into something scarier and more unknown that is a new world, I think it said. But then if we're building on, like, from the previous episodes, the previous trailers and music videos, the narrative as it's built is like, do you keep fighting or do you get off entirely into some kind of idyllic escape? Let's watch it again and see if that kind of holds up as a reading. Oh, right. So there's this interesting effect that's coming in and out that made me think of AI, although this was before a lot of the, like, current prevalent AI discourses, but, like, is this all being manufactured anyway? Like, on what level is all of this occurring as they kind of come in and out of being in the real world and we see this digitized imagery of them? Maybe there's another take on that. That's just was my first associations. It also kind of looks like they're melting in and out, which is sort of strange. I love this image with, like, the dark concrete looking walls of the elevator, industrial, right, representing the District 9 industrial visuals that they're leaving behind. And they're all facing forward and kind of fanning out, which makes me think of some of the imagery in Elevator when they're running free. And then the yellow tree right in the center of the image. I love how symmetrical, or how this plays with symmetry, with the symmetry of the doors and the tree at the center, but then Bang Chan with his blonde hair that we all know how I feel about, is slightly to the side of that, and everyone is fanning out in a sort of slightly symmetrical but very visually satisfying way. And then there's something in the corner that's yellow that I can't tell what that is. But yeah, it's a compelling image. So now we see oh yeah, and there is yellow in the bus stop as well, and they've got their suitcases and stuff. So they really do look like they're ready to go on a trip or a vacation. But then it melts again and becomes much eerier in this sort of yellow and black monochromatic variation, and this everything kind of melting into smoke. And then we have an inverted color, so everything feels kind of otherworldly for a moment. And the font is cool. So yellow wood, but it's not peaceful. Everything is kind of off, but you do see the yellow trees at the bottom of the typography kind of drawing you into this space that should be welcoming, but feels like very skewed. Okay. To New World, one-way ticket. So they really are making a choice. I don't know. Maybe there's something with all the numbers and everything that people have analyzed, because there's a lot of data in there beyond the obvious. And there's posters and maps that are probably we could unpack. Okay, so the bus comes with lots of yellow accents, which makes you feel like the bus is part of, but it's like a darker yellow, but still you do feel the bus is connected to this yellow wood journey, but this is when we move to the split screen. One image is them getting on the bus and the other image is just of the bus. So we really do have 2 stories being told at once, though maybe we don't realize it at this point because it could just be sort of 2 angles of the same story until the reveal. So there, and he's got a tattoo on his hand. What does that mean? And it's kinda smoke-like and creepy. And then one-way ticket they're giving to this guy with the creepy tattoo. But they look happy about their choice, and everything is white in there. It looks sort of heavenly. Okay. So they're off on their one-way trip, and that's when we get the reveal. That's when they get the reveal that in one of these 2 versions of reality or one of these 2 narratives or gameplays, they stayed behind, and in one of them, they went on the bus. And that shopping cart, that's been in previous videos too, right? In Elevator? Definitely, this feels like an origin point of the splitting that we saw in I Am You. No, in I Am Not. Maybe that's wrong. I now at this point, I'm very curious about a little like a timeline that would map out the order of events, and if it's more complicated than just the order of videos. And now, I mean, and this is coming from future knowledge, but I really feel like the Stray Kids Everywhere all around the world has a different resonance now that we know that we've just seen 2 different groups of Stray Kids going in 2 different directions. They really are everywhere all around the world and in like in Yellowwood dimensions too. And I love the invocation of fandom at the end of every story piece. I just think that's really cool. Okay. Well, I feel like we're really getting into the nitty-gritty and to like some complex storytelling. Like each piece takes us more deeply in, but this is a point where it's like we're in. This is some interesting storytelling that is happening concretely. There are 2 different paths. So let's quote the poem directly. 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. So which is the one less traveled by? I mean, staying in the wood isn't really an option. Usually one of those roads goes one direction and one goes the other. But in this case, I guess, well, we don't see or they're just gonna stay there is one of the journeys, and the less traveled by one, the bus on the way out? I mean, I think that's probably what we're supposed to assume it means. But there's lots of little details here that I like in recording, in the way I can see the screen in recording, I couldn't, like, blow up the images to see what all the numbers meant or some of the details in the background. I feel like there's a lot to mine there. I'm guessing people have done that. Um, and what kind of story clues that might give. Because I mean, obviously, as y'all have been telling me all along, these are so detail oriented, um, and all of the details matter and are intentional, which is, like, incredible. I love that, and that it extends when the ones that have dance and music to the choreography, to the musical, like, traditions invoked, that all of that is intentional and thoughtful. And so basically no detail should be ignored if we're trying to understand all of the meanings that are at work here. Not that intentionality matters, but it's a pleasure when it is intentional, and here it really feels like it is, and that's part of the complex storytelling. Um, yeah, which is so fun. Like it's such a ride. Okay, so that concludes this short installation. So we'll move on. I think Side Effects is itself a music video that we'll be watching next. Okay, thanks for joining me. Bye.